Today we're going to be talking about 5 things that you guys should know before getting into van life. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. This is a video that I've been thinking about making for a while now. I've been living off and on in my van for the past 3 years now, mostly full-time in the van for 2 years. And over that time, I've gathered a lot of insight, knowledge, advice, tips and tricks that I can share with you guys who are thinking about living the van life or living in a car, a truck, an RV, just living a nomadic lifestyle in general. Now, I've been gathering my thoughts over those years and I've broke them down into roughly 5 categories that we're going to hit on today. So by the end of this video, hopefully you guys will have a deeper look into living full-time on the road, traveling the country, and just living a super free lifestyle. Now, I'm going to go through this list pretty quick, and there's going to be a ton of follow-up questions that I'm sure you guys are curious about, so please leave some comments down below. Over the first couple of days that this video is up, I'm going to try to answer and give you guys advice to any question that I find down there. So without further ado, 5 things that I wish I knew before van life, 5 tips and tricks for van life, and just 5 things that you should know about living a nomadic lifestyle. The very first thing that should be on your mind and you need to consider before getting into this sort of lifestyle is money. If you're considering living a life on the road where you're constantly traveling and you're never fixed to one simple place, it gives you the most freedom possibly imaginable. Because of all the freedom that this style of life gives you, it's probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And while I do own a home now, I try to travel as much as possible. I'm probably about 50-50, so 50% at home and 50% on the road in one of my vehicles. In order to obtain that style of freedom, you need to have the finances to support that. Now, if you're thinking about doing something like this temporarily, you could just save up a bunch of money at a normal job and then just travel until those funds slowly deplete, but that is really not sustainable over a long period of time. If you're thinking about truly living like a van life style life, then you really need to find a way to make money as you travel. Over the past 3 years, the workforce in America has changed tremendously, so there are a ton of opportunities for remote work, whether you are working in IT, something like a desk job that you can work from a computer while you're on the road. And then you have other things like travel nursing and content creation like I do. There are a ton of different avenues in order for you to create revenue while you are traveling, and having that thing in place before you even begin to start traveling, that's a really huge stepping stone. I've met people through my travels who are business owners, some people who have invested in real estate, some people who even dabble in drop shipping and e-commerce. There are a ton of things that you can do from the comfort of a vehicle like this, and the only thing you really need would be a Wi-Fi connection. So before you think about getting into this lifestyle, get your finances in order, find a way to work for yourself. It gives you so much freedom, and then traveling on top of that, I really don't think there is a more free feeling than working for yourself and traveling, doing whatever you want, whenever you want. It's great. The second thing on my list of things that you should know about van life is sort of vehicle specific, but it's a question that is commonly asked. And a lot of it has to do with hygiene and using a bathroom. Now, I knew that I was going into this wanting to live out of my van for an extended amount of time. It ended up being 2 to 2.5 years. And while I was doing that, I wanted the comfort of having a shower and a toilet. So my van is equipped with that. But is it necessary? Not really. People's lifestyles vary quite a lot, and I knew that if I was living out of here full-time, I wanted to be as self-sustaining as possible, so having a shower and a toilet completely built in like this was sort of one of my priorities on my list. Now, let's say you are traveling and just living out of a normal vehicle, just like a car or a truck. Maybe you're rooftop tent camping as you're traveling around the country. There are a lot of other ways to get clean and to use restrooms, of course, but it's not going to be as convenient as having something like this here with you. So if having a shower and a toilet is a priority to you, definitely think about that before you are out there traveling and you're just like, oh no, where am I going to shower? So if it's not a huge priority to you, but you still want to, of course, have a bathroom and a shower, it's almost a necessity, there are a few different things to consider. One, if you're traveling in sort of an urban environment, bathrooms are plentiful. Tons of public restrooms all over the country, truck stops and gas stations. Again, it may be kind of inconvenient if nature is calling and you really need to go somewhere. You may be off the grid pretty far away, so you could always just kind of go outside. But for the most part, it is very easy to find a bathroom. And on top of that, if you want to shower, there are also places that you can shower, like truck stops. Now, I've personally never showered at a truck stop, so I can't really speak to it fully, but there are options like that out there. Or there are also products that you don't need to build out a vehicle to use. I recently reviewed a geyser hot shower system, which allows you to take a decently warm, sort of like sponge bath type of shower in your vehicle, outside of your vehicle, and it's a really cool way to stay clean while you're on the road. There are a lot of other products out there like that too, and that is definitely something that you need to consider before choosing this lifestyle. If you want to check out my initial review of that geyser system, I'll leave a link for it right up here in the corner. Now, sort of going off of that last topic, finding a place to shower and use a bathroom, finding spots in general is going to be the next thing that I want to talk about. So number 3, finding spots. This is another question that I get asked quite a lot. Where do you find these trails and camping spots, and how do I know where I can park and where I can't park? Where can I find clean water to fill up my vehicle, and where can I find dump stations to dump gray or black water? This is sort of a lengthy discussion, and I could talk about this topic in a complete video of its own. However, having a cell phone is your best friend. There are a ton of apps, and I'm gonna go through maybe 2 or 3 of them right now just to show you guys what I've been using over the past like 3 years or so. And I essentially use a combination of apps on my phone to find specific things that I'm currently looking for. So first up, sort of a one-stop shop if you're looking for a place to crash for the night. Maybe you are boondocking, or you're looking for a campground, or you're looking for fresh water, a water dump station, whatever it may be. iOverlander. Now, this is a great app to have on your phone. Let's say I'm doing a trip out to Salt Lake City. If I zoom in on the map here, you can see a ton of different areas with campgrounds, boondocking, water, RV storage, dump station. There's a lot of stuff here. So let's say we're going into Salt Lake and we need to fill up on water. If I zoom in here, click on the little water icon, get some more info on that. It looks like there's a spigot with clean water behind the gas station. I've used gas stations like this to fill up the van before, and for the most part they work great. This is a user-based app, so you can actually add your own information to it. Maybe if something is closed, you can go in there and say, hey, this is no longer available. For the most part, that stays up to date pretty well based off of people that use it. So you filled up water, now you want to dump water. Right next to that is a little dump station. If we open up the info on that, RV waste dump, it's $6. You can get premium gas, diesel as well. There's a mini mart with food and supplies. So really good resource for whatever you may need. You can also filter iOverlander by specifics of what you're looking for. So now let's find, let's say, a campground. If I scroll in here, we got Point of the Mountain. This is a flight park, amazing spot for camping. Camping is allowed for 14 days, $15 a day. A lot of these places also have photos on them, so if I click on photos, I can scroll around and sort of get an idea of what it looks like. So that looks cool, but I want to be away from people. So let's go to up here. This is like a boondocking spot. So this is a trailhead, quiet neighborhood, lots of walking trails, steps away from the parking lot. And also in an app like this, you can get a good idea of the overall safety of the area, and that is something that we're gonna hit on here in a little bit. So iOverlander is a great resource for a lot of that stuff, but how about some other apps? Depending on your vehicle setup, like me, I like to be off-road and as off-grid as possible most of the time. One of my favorite apps right now is onX Off-Road. Now, this is an app that you do have to pay for, however, it is packed with information and, again, user-based, so you can sort of update things that you find as you're out there exploring and traveling around. So say I'm in the Salt Lake area and I want to find a trail. If I click on this trail right here, we got Liberty Avon Road. This is a moderate difficulty trail, has a technical rating of 3, which is pretty mellow. From my experience with this, something with a lower rating like that, this van could definitely handle, so that's something that I would definitely check out. And then if we look at an overview of it, it gives you, again, photos and a bunch of different information on what is actually allowed up there. If it has rain, 4x4 may be necessary, and a lot of times you can also find camp spots through here. If you click on a trail, they're mainly like off-road vehicle trails. People will mention if there are dispersed camping sites throughout the trail. So I actually found a camp spot in my previous video when we went out with the Tacoma. I found that trail using Onyx Off-Road, and they're constantly adding functionality to this, so there's a good chance that I may bring you guys a full dedicated video on an app like this in the future. And then some other honorable mentions. We have All Trails if you are looking for hiking trails. We have Gaia GPS if you're trying to track your route wherever you're going. Look at topo maps. RV dumps, I have occasionally used that to find places where I can dump gray water. Then you have an app like Boondocking, a very low download rate on that app, but it's something that I've definitely used from time to time, and there's a lot of good apps out there to find good spots. Now, the fourth thing to know about van life is maintenance. If you are not mechanically inclined or just handy in general, living a life like this may not be for you. I see a lot of comments across my videos whenever I'm showing sort of like the troubles of van life when things are breaking and things aren't going the way they're supposed to be going. I see a lot of comments saying like, oh, if I owned a vehicle that was that expensive and all of these things were going wrong with it, I would be furious. A vehicle like that shouldn't have this many problems, and that is not the mindset you want to be in if you are thinking about van life. If you think about it, this entire van is like a house. There's electrical, there's plumbing, it is on a vehicle chassis, so of course, as you are traveling around with essentially a house going 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour on the highway, you're driving it off-road and you're constantly using this thing, things are going to break. Now, when it comes to the actual maintenance of a vehicle, that is something that you will just sort of learn over time. When I first got into my Sprinter van, I didn't know a whole lot about it. I just knew that overall they were fairly reliable, and I would have to sort of give it some love from time to time to keep it running the best that it possibly can. And now, after 3 years of traveling around with this thing, I probably have like 65, almost 70,000 miles on the van. I'm pretty damn confident with the chassis that I could fix almost anything. I've done a ton of modifications, of course, which allows you to sort of know the vehicle a little bit more than just if you were driving it from day to day. So I've pulled stuff off, put stuff on, I've replaced things like the fuel filter, air filters, and just like routine general maintenance. But then I also believe that it's a good idea to go and get regular service done at an actual dealer. I like to do some of the sort of basic routine maintenance through my dealer. That way I have a service record of the vehicle if I ever choose to sell it in the future. If you do everything yourself, that's fine if you keep receipts and data logs and everything. However, especially when it comes to Mercedes, people who are buying a high-end vehicle like this typically want to see service records, so that's why I do most of my A and B maintenance with Mercedes directly. Now, you'll save a ton of money if you do it at a smaller shop or do it yourself, so that's sort of at your own discretion. Do whatever you want, but you should know how to maintain your vehicle. And then when it comes to the inside, all of the electrical and plumbing and just like different fittings, cabinetry, woodworking, there's definitely going to be stuff that breaks. That goes for RVs, for vans, trailers, campers, even just like an overland rig with a bunch of gear on it, a rooftop tent. Things are going to break. It's a really good idea to travel around with a toolkit. I always have tools in both of my vehicles, and it's important to also know how to use them to an extent. Now, just like the chassis of this vehicle, going into this, I didn't know a whole lot about the inside and the inner workings and all of the technical systems. However, after doing it for about 3 years now, I've ripped apart almost every single system in this van, and I'm pretty confident that I could fix things myself if I ever need to. Some of the main things that we worked on was, of course, the electrical system in here, which has been completely gutted and ripped out. We have this new system back here, and as well as the water system. The water system for me has probably been my biggest headache. I ended up replacing my water pump found over here in the kitchen galley area. I replaced a ton of fittings over here by the mixing valve. So it's good to know how to maintain your vehicle. Like I said, if you're driving this thing off-road and you're traveling around with a house on wheels, expect things to break. It's definitely going to happen. And now for the fifth and final thing that you should know about van life, security. This sort of ties into the finding good spots category. Security when you're traveling, especially if you're traveling solo, is super important. When it comes to location scouting, you really want to make sure that you are in a safe area if you plan on staying there for any extended amount of time or even overnight. I have parked in some pretty shady areas like Home Depot and Walmart parking lots right near major cities, and there have been times where I really didn't feel all that safe. I will say, however, though, that for the majority of my traveling, I would say I spend about 70% of my time in national forests or BLM land if I am out west. And those places are generally a lot safer than, of course, being around other people. So scouting a good location is probably the main thing for being secure and safe while you're traveling in a vehicle, but there are also some other things that you can do to make sure you're more safe than the average person. One of the main things, of course, being self-defense. Whether you are traveling around with some type of personal defense item, like you have a baseball bat, a knife, a gun, whatever it may be, all of that stuff is good to have. However, it doesn't just stop there. Don't think that if you go out and buy a machete, all of a sudden you are safe and you can park wherever in dangerous areas. A lot of times people will get something for self-defense to travel around with them, but they don't have any training. So if you're gonna go that route, whether it's a baseball bat, a firearm, a knife, or even like pepper spray or something like that, know how to use it. Training is honestly probably more important than even having those items with you, so it's definitely something to think about. I could go into crazy detail about all of that stuff, but I'll leave it at that. If you're thinking about having a personal defense weapon with you, get some training. And then another little trick to add security to your vehicle, I see some people doing cameras and some sort of like elaborate lighting and stuff like that. That's cool if your vehicle allows for it, but it also means that you're probably going to spend a lot of money, because if you have cameras, you want them to be Wi-Fi connected, so sometimes you may be out of cell phone signal. You have to have extra SIM cards and things like that. One of my favorite things that I've added to my van for very simple, inexpensive security. Actually, let me go grab it. Whew, it's freaking windy out there. So this guy right here is a solar LED motion detecting light. This thing has been through the ringer. It basically lives on the back of my van, and it has been there for probably about 2 years now. This thing still works great. I don't know how, it just sort of hangs on back there, and you can pick these up on Amazon for roughly like 15 bucks, I believe. I'll actually leave a link for some of these down in the description below. So on top, there's a little bit of solar. Right here is the motion detection, and this whole panel right here is a light. On the back, I just have some 3M magnets that are stuck on there, and this thing lives on the back door of my van. You could get a bunch of these and put them all over your vehicle. Sometimes, depending on where I'm parked and how the van is positioned, I will actually pull this off my back door and put it maybe on the front of the van or on the side. Basically, I will put this light wherever I want a little bit more security. Now, the thought behind this is that if you are parked in an urban environment and someone is coming to check out your vehicle, maybe they see something valuable and they want to break in. If I have this thing on the outside of my van at night and I'm in a dark area, as soon as they walk even remotely close to this is going to light up. It is super bright, and it almost seems like someone flipped a light on. It's not the end-all be-all security solution. However, casting light in a dark area definitely scares a lot of people off. This is also good in a boondocking or completely off-the-grid situation. A lot of times I will sleep with my back window blinds open like that, and if I have this on the back, if anything comes around the vehicle at night, these lights will light up and I can clearly see out of the vehicle and see what's going on. I've seen a lot of wildlife using these things. This has never actually saved me in a situation where someone is sort of like creeping up on the van. However, whenever that light comes on at night and I'm aware of it, it really gives me a better sense of security. That way I can see out, no one can see in, and I can sort of check out my surroundings and figure out what is going on. So a simple magnetic lighting solution like this is a huge plus, and it's something that almost everyone can implement on any vehicle out there. So those are 5 things that you should know about van life, 5 tips and tricks. There's just like a lot of information going on here, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions, so please leave some questions in the comments down below and I will try to answer anything as best as possible with my own personal experiences that I've had while traveling on the road for the past like 3 years. If there are enough questions about a specific topic, I may end up doing a follow-up video to this, because we are traveling in the van in 2 weeks. We're going down to Mexico. And when traveling out of country to the middle of nowhere in a desert like that, I basically have to take all of the advice that I put in this video and amplify it. Make sure I know where I'm going, make sure I know it's safe, Got to have the van completely maintained because I don't want to be breaking down in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to have tools and probably extra tools with me. Got to find all the good spots, got to make sure everything is secure, and I'm really looking forward to that trip. So if you guys want to see some more van content like this, leave a like on this video, and if you're new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe because I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.